So we are now live and we will start exactly at 11. Okay? Everyone can be on mute, and then as we move across, we can then start. Hi, good morning, everyone. Welcome to today's session on Are You Future Employed? Today we have the finance panel, some very good industry experts from the finance sector, and they will really be talking about the challenges, the reskilling, the disruptions, the future employment. Let me do a quick round of introductions. Let me start with myself. I'm Sudin Baraokar. I have more than 20 years of IT and innovation experience. I've been heading the innovation at State Bank, Barclays, and have been with IBM and GE. I now advise the world on emerging tech and deep tech, as well as I've got my two startups, which I founded, AIOTF.io and bankchainasset.com. We then have panelists. The next panelist, we have Anil Patil, who is Chairman, SP Wealth Advisor. Then we have Abhishek Jain, who is Head Customer Insights at Wolter Kluwer. Then we have Chenthil Iyer, who is founder at Honus Financial Consultants. We then have Dr. Vijay Kakade, who is an economist. And then we have Sunil, Nagaonkar, who is Secretary-Kolhapur Chartered Accountants Society. So I'll be the moderator as well as the panelist, and I'll just have the panelists quickly introduce themselves, starting with Anil.
Thank you, sir, and good morning, all. Myself, Anil Patil. We are working in financial sectors like mutual funds, life insurance, and debt market and etc. We are establishing SP Wealth Management 2008. Also, we are establishing a company last 2 years with my colleagues Rajesh Shah and Aditi Dadde. We are working in rural sector also, Kolhapur and rural sector also. We have managed about 100 crores in AUM under mutual funds. Thank you. Signing out, Anil Patil.
Yeah, we can move on to Abhishek.
Hi, this is Abhishek. I have been working for around 15 years in various banks like HSBC, Barclays, Citibank, Ernst& Young Consulting. So, and mostly into areas of financial risk management, regulatory compliance, regulatory technology, and especially applying analytics on all these areas to make better decisions. Thanks a lot.
We'll next move on to Professor Dr. Vijay Kakade.
Hello, I'm Professor Vijay Kakade, working as a professor in economics. Since last 30 years, I'm working in the Shivaji University. I'm also SEBI empaneled resource person for financial planning, and I have delivered more than 400 lectures on these topics. I'm working also as a coordinator for Bank of India professor chair in the university, and finance is my passion. So in that direction, awareness, creating, suggesting the planning for a common man is our motto.
Yeah. We'll now move on to Chenthil.
Hello, everyone. I'm Chenthil Iyer. I'm a mechanical engineer turned financial planner. So it's been more of 17 years of financial planning industry experience that I have.
Okay, so probably Chenthil will just join us back. So let us start with today's discussion. And we are going to talk about the COVID environment and what is the massive change that we're going to see with special relevance to future employability and skills. And we are really actually experiencing this very big disruption. We need to now start rewiring ourselves and our enterprises to face all these challenges. So we'll do a round robin. I'll ask the question, and then each of y'all can give your industry inputs and thought leadership around it. And the first question would be around what's the planning around restarting, rewiring, as well as reskilling your industry. And let's start with Abhishek Jain from a BFSI and a risk management perspective. Let's start with Abhishek and let's get his thoughts and views on this.
Thanks a lot, Sudin. So, yes, coronavirus or COVID situation has been a major disruption for the financial services industry. So, especially coming from regulations and regulatory standpoint, from a financial risk standpoint, this is of course a very big financial risk where each and every bank is can experience a lot of stress on their books, and we can expect the economic situation to be a little bit uh, slow for the next year or so. But at the same time, this is also a good opportunity where we do see a lot of relief aid coming up from various parties, a lot of priority sector lending, a lot of paycheck protection programs, which are also gaining momentum. So the RBI has released a lot of funds. US federal government has released a lot of funds, and we do expect a lot of lending to still continue in especially some of those areas which are important for the economy to get a restart from from a financial standpoint. From a rewiring and reskilling standpoint, yes, digital is going to take a first step for all the financial services. Fintechs will. This is a very good opportunity for fintechs to come in and fill the gaps where large banks are not able to fill the gap. So yes, so we can see a lot of emerging fintechs in various industries.
Great, thanks, Abhishek. Let's move on to Chenthil, and we want your inputs on rewiring, reskilling as we approach the post-COVID environment, and especially what is the disruption that you see in the entire financial advisory space.
Yeah, firstly, I would like to touch upon the investor behavior, which will give us some insight about the demand side in the post-COVID era as far as the personal finance industry is concerned. So far, a lot of people found comfort in being able to physically meet the advisor to chalk out their financial plan. So I've had clients telling me that the only reason why they switched to me, other than my other credentials, was because their other planner was not in the same city. All right. So the first thing they want to know is if I'm comfortable now in today's scenario. The first thing that they want to know is whether I'm comfortable doing a video conferencing meeting with them. So it's a big shift as far as their in the investor behavior is concerned. Um, the tangibility in the physical is actually waning away. Only if you meet in person, the human touch can be there in a meeting. Is something which is kind of a thing of the past now. But the human touch is still an important factor. So the advisor needs to be reskilled in terms of being able to provide that human touch amongst the cacophony of "Can you hear me? The voice is breaking" kind of comments. I got thrown out during my introduction. So these kind of issues which are still we are encountering in today's scenario. So among that, to bring in that personal touch and the human touch becomes the biggest reskilling factor as far as the personal financial advisory service is concerned. So interpersonal skills of the highest order would be required.
Yeah, fantastic. So let's keep this interactive also. So before we move on to Anil, and he's an expert in the finance space. And the question is that, and this is a live question posted on Facebook by none other than Nehu himself, is does this moratorium facility offered to comfort people really work? So we're talking about the 3-month moratorium that has been issued by the Reserve Bank, and had the banks as well as the NBFCs have been asked to extend that moratorium to their borrowers. In my view, yes, it is very helpful because of the current situation. So, Anil, what are your views on this?
This is a very good taken decision by RBI because of last 2 and 3 months, none of income of common man's income will be stopped, and the monitoring system is very good in this periods. I will welcome to the taken decision of RBI, and it is very good sign for and helps to common man.
Yeah, thank you, Anil.
Okay.
Well, let's move on to Professor Dr. Vijay Kakade, and this is a specific question about economics. We have been seeing that in this VUCA world, in this world of volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and the world being very ambiguous every day, rather, I would say every minute. And we are seeing very scary things like negative oil pricing and a whole lot of other stuff, which really, asks us the question as to what is the world of economics today? What is it that economists can really predict better or give a lot of sense to the current chaos that we are experiencing?
Yes, we are experiencing the changes which earlier generation never experienced. The negative oil pricing is a shocking, but it is a reality. And COVID and the post-COVID scenario is totally uncertain. And during the uncertainty, we require certain modeling and how to take rational decisions. That is a big question for everyone. Managing the personal finances is a challenge because not only the COVID, but along with COVID, we have to keep in mind that the IR 4, that is Industrial Revolution 4, is knocking the door, where we have the nanotechnology, robotics, artificial intelligence, and 3D printing, all that is coming. So, economics and basic rules of economics are again rewritten. The word of uncertainty and the challenges of uncertainty in case of the job that I'm having, because tomorrow is no guarantee for my job. So reskilling is very much essential, and adapting the new technology by upgrading our skill. Where you stand is no assurance that you will stand there. So everyone has to rethink about reskilling, upgrading. What China has done for their manpower, that they have trained their manpower every year for a new skill, and that's why they could absorb any shock they have. So we have to prepare for a number of shocks which are coming up. COVID is just the beginning of the movie. The trailer is that we have seen, yet the full movie is intact. So everyone at a personal level must be aware what is coming up, and especially the youth, that they have more stake in the future, and their skilling is more important. Right, Abhishek has said that yes, we are facing some technological problems, but when 5G comes into reality, these nitty-gritties will be over. And yes, there is a lot of scope for that. Turmoil in the sector of employment is there. Number of jobs are going to be lost. But at the same time, there are certain sunrise industries, especially the industries where we are working, the finance. For everyone, it will be a need of the time. And financial experts will be the first friend for everyone to take the advice from him and manage the resources, the small, whatever they have. At macro level, at micro level, the government is doing well. They are coming with good monetary policy, fiscal policy is also coming up, helping to the MSME, small and micro enterprises is there. SHG is a very good backbone of our economy. So women workers, women gender as such is also a challenge as well as an opportunity for India. We talk about the demographic dividend, but the demographic dividend needs to be converted into a capital, not a liability. And reskilling, re-engineering, rebooting the economy, that is the need of the time, and we are coming to that. And I think that the bold decisions which we are expecting, the pumping of money that the developed countries like USA have done, they are putting more than 10% of their GDP for pumping the economy. We are just 1%, that is we are adding. So here again we are expecting in the line of the decisions that we are going to get more and more boost from the government sector. But government sector alone is not sufficient. We all together, we should move together. And I think that the India as a such, when we have 1.3 billion people as a stock as such, so a huge market, huge potential, and naturally huge opportunities are there. We have to read the writing on the walls that earlier days are over. Earlier technology is no use. Considering the Industrial Revolution .4, where IT is there, where the Internet of the Things is there, where we have the artificial intelligence, which can solve a number of things, like behavior, consumer behavior. Chenthil was pointing out that how we can train them, how we can cope up them with the new technology. That is the matter of thing. And I think that our people are accepting the technology in a very great way. Look at the smartphone used by a garbage collector. So everything that I think that is a positive, rosy, but challenging.
Thank you, Professor Vijay. Let's move on to Sunil. And Sunil Nagaonkar is a chartered accountant, industry expert, chartered accountant space. My question is that how do we, from a accounting, so from a personal accounting perspective, from a corporate accounting perspective, from this entire big disruption that we are seeing, what is it
Not,
that
not able to hear, sir. Not
okay,
able to hear you properly.
okay,
Sound
so
problem, audio problem is there actually.
okay, so
Not
maybe
not able to hear you.
yeah. Okay, so maybe I'll redirect this question to
Yeah.
Chenthil and Anil. In terms of how do we prepare from a finance perspective? It's finance has always been something that every day we need to understand all the new terms. The new terms are, as what, just to continue on what Dr. Vijay Kakade said, is helicopter money, stimulus, right? Negative oil futures, right? This is all stuff that is we have been experiencing crisis, but not of this scale and magnitude. And every day now we have to not only learn new things and understand new things, right? But from a finance perspective, we have to understand it very fast. The velocity that previously probably we could have understood it in a few weeks or a few months. But today, with the velocity of markets and the velocity of change, and what started as a medical and a health crisis has now even become a big financial and economic crisis. So this velocity of change, especially from a finance perspective, is something that we have to really align to. And I would like Anil and Chenthil, and then after that Abhishek to just throw light on this.
Shall I go first?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. Thank you.
All right. So uh, people are still kind of letting this disaster sink in. Uh, still, we are actually over ecstatic about thanking the doctors and you know what do you say, how to make the best use of this time at home. People are learning to cook. People are learning to help the family with other stuff and all of that. So we are still in the process of transitioning into the post COVID era. So the reality has still not sunken in. Okay, but it's time that we realize that this is going to be create a major impact as far as our life and livelihood is concerned. Okay, so from a personal finance point of view, what most people need to really look into right now is the kind of quantum of discretionary expenses that they were getting used to in the increasingly materialistic the economy that we were creating, and because of which a lot of people are deep into debt. And from a personal finance standpoint, in fact, I read an article recently which says in US 40% of people, okay, the India specific numbers are still not there, but it's going to be much higher. 40% of people in the US cannot come up with a liquidity of $400 or more. That's the kind of situation that is there. People are having excessive liquidity crunch. Maybe people in the technology industry are not facing a financial crunch yet, but the percentage of people employed in the tech industry is very minuscule compared to the rest of the population.
Yeah,
Now,
and
now
just
that,
that's really interesting, Chenthil. And before I go to Anil, I really want to go to Abhishek before and ask him the question that is it that because a lot of the IT folks are already well digitally trained, have been the BFSI sector has always been a first mover in technology and emerging technology and going digital. Is it that that we can share these best practices across other industries so that they can cope with the situation better?
Of course. So, in the financial industry, especially, yeah, so traditionally, large banks especially have always relied on on-premise solutions. Now we can observe that they have also started preferring SaaS-based solutions, where or a cloud-based solution where everybody can immediately start working from home without them needing to be connected to the office systems, right? So that is one major change that we have seen in large banks. Small banks and fintechs are actually much more agile to identifying these opportunities and fixing those opportunities. So, for example, when Yes Bank failed, there were other the fintech companies, other fintech companies stepped in and helped plug the UPI payment systems that Yes Bank was not able to commit to. So some of those resilience, some of those agility is something that will be able to help during this economic crisis, both from a customer standpoint and from a business standpoint. So definitely, this is not just a disruption, but also an opportunity for the more agile ones to step in and increase their market share. Yes, but and at the same time, large banks and large financial institutions, how they can also start helping is opening up their APIs to some of these smaller fintech companies, so they can start using big bank systems to facilitate payments or start experimenting with newer business models for their own customers. So that is something that is definitely an opportunity. And yet at the same time, once I would also like to mention as a like last point is another risk of a digital virus, because right now what we are seeing is a physical virus, but at the same time digital virus technology risk is also an issue which uh, can come on the other side. So these kind of risks will always happen, and these kind of risks everybody will always run. The only thing that we can do at our end is to be resilient and be agile
Yeah.
to hedge ourselves.
Fantastic, Abhishek. So, given the choice between a digital virus and a physical virus, I'll any day take the digital virus any time. And in fact, just to continue on what Abhishek said, all the investments that we made. So I was in State Bank of India, I was in Barclays, as well as in IBM. I was in the BFSI space, delivering cutting edge solutions to a lot of our BFSI customers. And all the investments that we made in digital banking, mobile banking, tablet banking, core banking, open banking, APIs, a lot of the fintech collaborations that we've done, I think all of them, the digital payments, risk management, all of that is now proving really very beneficial. We can just at the click of a button, sitting at home, do all the transactions. We don't have to go to the bank. We probably don't even have to go to an ATM, right? So, probably when we started this journey of going digital and doing major transformation programs, we did face a lot of challenges and opposition, but today you can see that all what we have invested, whatever all the transformation programs that we've done, is today so beneficial worldwide across, especially in India, where the digital payments, the demonetization, the GST digitization is really helping the industry. So it's just fantastic. Thank you. So Anil, coming to right from a small shop owner or a migrant labor or a person in the enterprise or a person who is now having to prepare even the younglings, the people who are going to graduate, the students who are going to graduate and get jobs, right? What is it that changes? What is it that we can further improve upon our financial knowledge and the way that we address the finance piece of it, the finance modeling that we do? Probably we can also extend this question to Dr. Vijay Kakade. What is it that at every level we need to really move away from have this shift away from just domain knowledge to more deep tech knowledge, which probably can help everyone understand even the basics better? Or is it that we need to re-educate or reskill everybody with the latest on how to manage their finances?
Thank you, Sudin ji. I will better explain in Hindi. Can I speak Hindi?
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
आज के डेट में हमारे इंडिया में बहुत सारा फाइनेंशियल इलिटरेसी बहुत बड़ा है. जब भी हम डॉक्टर्स इंजीनियर्स के मिलते हैं तो उनका भी इतना नॉलेज नहीं रहता कि जितना फाइनेंशियल प्लानिंग के बारे में, इन्वेस्टमेंट के बारे में, पैसा ग्रो कैसा होता है, इन्फ्लेशन के इम्पैक्ट क्या होते हैं, ये किसी के नॉलेज नहीं है उसके. पहले लॉट ऑफ फुल ऑफ इलिटरेसी इन आवर इंडिया. लोगों को बोलते हैं कि इमरजेंसी प्लानिंग चाहिए. बहुत सारे लोग सुनते नहीं थे, मगर अभी आज कोविड के इम्पैक्ट इतना बड़ा आया है कि इनका अभी हमारा याद आता है कि ये पाटिल साहब बोल रहे थे, ये बहुत अच्छे बोल रहे थे. प्लानिंग इज मोस्ट एसेंशियल एनीवन लाइफ. प्लानिंग तो परफेक्ट होना चाहिए. जब अर्निंग स्टार्ट होता है तभी फाइनेंशियल प्लानिंग की नॉलेज होना जरूरी है. और फाइनेंशियल प्लानिंग के बारे में पहले इमरजेंसी प्लानिंग होनी चाहिए. जब भी कि 6 मंथ 3 मंथ इन्हीं के, अभी आज कोरोना के बारे में इनकम स्टॉप हुआ है, कोई किसी के बारे में भी इन्हीं एक्सीडेंट, इन्हीं इलनेस के बारे में भी स्टॉप हो सकता है इनकम. तभी वो इमरजेंसी प्लानिंग के लिए पैसा रहना जरूरी भी है. आज के डेट में हमारे म्यूचुअल फंड्स हमारे एरिया में जो कोल्हापुर डिस्ट्रिक्ट है, काफी सारे लोग, मैक्सिमम 10% लोग ही इन्वेस्टमेंट कर रहे हैं म्यूचुअल फंड्स एंड इक्विटी ओरिएंटेड स्कीम्स में. बहुत लॉट ऑफ पीपल डूइंग यानी कि जो पुराने इन्वेस्टमेंट्स है, बैंक एफडी, लाइफ इंश्योरेंस का पॉलिसीज, जहां पे 6% 5% रिटर्न्स मिल रहा है, जो भी इन्फ्लेशन के ऊपर वो जा भी नहीं रहे हैं. ये सारा इलिटरेसी की बातें है. ये पहले सभी हमारा चैलेंज क्या रहता है कि पहले लिटरेसी करना चाहिए. और लिटरेसी के बारे में अभी ककड़े सर बहुत अच्छा हमारा एरिया में काम कर रहे हैं. सेबी अभी सभी सेमिनार्स के बारे में काम करे, मगर इतना सभी पूरा नहीं हो पा रहा है. ज्यादा तो लोग लिटरेसी लगे होते हैं, यहाँ पे प्रॉपर इन्वेस्टमेंट्स भी नहीं हो रहा है. अभी डिजिटल के बारे में हम जब भी अभी आज हम वर्क फ्रॉम होम चालू कर रहे हैं, मगर सामने वाला इतना अवेयर नहीं है. ये तकलीफ आ रही है सभी को.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah. So thanks, Anil. I think that was really very insightful. I'll pass it on over to Chenthil and then Professor Vijay Kakade. Chenthil, we started the financial inclusion programs in terms of the Jan Dhan, which I believe is and being in the state bank and heading the innovation there a few years back, I believe was one of the most successful financial inclusion programs, where we have got more than 500 million of these Jan Dhan accounts. So how do we take this to the next level, right? So we have all this data. We can do a lot of data science on this data. We have a lot of programs. We are already doing. The government is already doing a direct benefit transfer. In the state bank, we did focus on this financial inclusion. Also on the mudra loans, on the loans given to the SMB, right? How do we take this to the next level? Because now is the time to really, apart from helping people medically and improving their health, right, and saving lives, we have to also look at this economic and financial piece of it, which is really required. So I think we've just lost out Chenthil for a few minutes. So Professor Dr. Vijay Kakade, can you take this on?
Yes, basically we have to take the new technology that we have. And the point that was given by Abhishek is that, yes, the digital things have a virus also. Financial literacy is very low. And yet we find that every week some incidences where the people are giving their password and codes and being cheated. So this is the one thing that we have to create a confidence and better firewalls where we can protect the people. The second thing is that India is one of the leading countries where the masses have been brought under the ambit of the regulatory system, Jan Dhan accounts and all that. And Abhishek Banerjee, the Nobel Prize winner economist, has said that now pumping the money in the hands of the poor person, that is the right key. And technology is our password for all these things together. So we have to fight in that direction. And we have to give the money in the hands of the small people, where small businessmen, small industries, farmers, who are in the need of the cash, and providing them not only the cash benefit, but along with the technology that will give the real benefits. And the another gender bias that we have is that basically when the money is transferred in the hands of the women, that the better household income and outputs are coming up. So that also we have to keep in mind, that technology is the answer for number of questions. Along with technological spread, a number of questions, problems crop up, which we call a virus. But virus that can be controlled, or we can have the firewalls and we can protect the gullible people. And in that way, we are doing a number of things together. Basically, we have to start with the word that the prosperity lies at the bottom of the pyramid. Unless and until we strengthen the rural people, the people with small means, so we cannot revive the economy. And now the question is the rebooting the economy, bringing it on par with the earlier days after COVID-19 is the challenge. And I think that the technological help is very much essential. As Anil Patil has said that financial literacy is the need of the time. Even the experts, doctors, lawyers, they are also facing the same problem. Their literacy is not above the 10th standard as a whole. So we have to give them the technology and along with that, the things which are there.
So before I go to Chenthil and Abhishek, I advise a lot of fintechs, a lot of startups, and especially from a fintech side, what we are seeing is that the reduction in interest rates, right, and also the reduction in repo, as well as the increase in the credit risk, right? So the credit risk is the risks are much higher now, and at the same time, the the model has changed because the interest rates are going lower, right? And in fact, I've really, I've been advising, especially fintechs on, they really need to fix this issue because this could be a major problem, right? Uh, Chantal, how do you see this going forward? Is this going to be a bigger shock? Is it that this entire real banking is really needs to be supported by the government all across, right? It's not just the real banks, but even NBFCs, startups, fintechs, everybody has to be supported. And Abhishek, the question to you is basically in terms of risk, how big is this risk, right? Because this is a very, very serious risk, right? You have a, you can, this can create a bubble. Already the bubble is there and it can just, burst. So first, Chenthil, I invite your thoughts and then we can move on to Abhishek.
Yeah, just to add to the previous discussion where I missed out on, your question on taking financial education and inclusion to the next level. The most important point that I feel is to instill financial education right in schools. That's a big missing link. In the entire educational system, the children are not taught about money and how to handle money, and they have to learn from their own personal mistakes later on in their lives, and that leads to people being unaware and illiterate about how to handle their money. Okay, so the next level would be to educate children, and I consider money management skills as a life skill and not just as a add-on skill that somebody would develop. Okay, going further to the question that you specifically asked, uh, in today's scenario, fintech can definitely help us go beyond geographical boundaries. So that's one big advantage that I can see, and in fact, the rural areas relatively backward than the urban areas, still people are very much active, at least on WhatsApp. Okay, uh, uh, a lot of rumor mongering and fake news peddling is also happening through those systems. But the silver lining is that everyone is getting more and more engaged in the digital platforms. So how fintech can really help is in terms of increasing and expanding the reach. It's a high time that we ignore the fact that post offices give us the biggest reach in India. We have to go beyond that and say that okay, technology gives us the biggest reach as far as India is concerned. However, that has its own challenges in terms of we still are struggling with a lot of people in the rural segment, not being able to even access their own bank accounts, where they have to
Yeah, probably uh, Chenthil, we're not able to hear you. So probably Abhishek, could you continue?
Sure. So, if you look at how big this risk is, of course, that itself is a very big question. I would say, and I would put it this way. So, and this situation actually comes at a time when financial services industry was already, on the verge of a big uh, loan bubble or defaults bubble. So and especially when when the coronavirus situation comes at this particular point, of course there's no saying how big this credit risk problem could be. uh, but again, at the same time, we keep hearing about a lot of financial inclusion, and if people are supposed to move to contactless payments and digital payments, I do expect, because in India is primarily a liability heavy society. In Indian society, if I am allowed to use a colloquial term, कर्ज लिया है is still considered to be a bad uh, uh, situation for any person to be, or so, or कर्ज नहीं चुकाया, that is supposed to be even worse thing. So because of that, India is primarily liability heavy, and using those liabilities could actually help the bigger financial sector. So, and that is again a great opportunity that corona can leave us with.
So we have Sunil back again. Sunil Nagaonkar is a chartered accountant. Sunil, can you hear us? And can you just share your views on, from an accounting perspective, what really changes? How do we all prepare ourselves?
Audio is not proper.
Okay. So probably we'll move on to Anil. Uh,
Yeah.
I mean, your views. We have seen that. Just to continue on what Abhishek has said, he says that we have a high liability problem. Okay, but then in my view is that we also have a big asset problem, right? There are a lot of stressed assets. There's a lot of money locked up in the system. How do we really approach that? Unless we keep unless we keep transforming ourselves every day, probably, that is the government, citizens, everybody, right? How do we take this ahead? We have no choice now but to keep make sure that this the financial transformation 2.0 happens, whether it is financial inclusion or whether it is more lending, or whether the government has to step in and provide some guarantees, right? Banks are still very hesitant to lend, and maybe rightfully so, because of a lower interest regime and a higher credit risk. Maybe that could be the reason. But somehow, India is such a large country, we need to address this. Unless we get liquidity, unless we get stimulus, unless we get money, right? Be it helicopter money or be it whatever money that we need it. So how would what are your views on this?
In India, there are middle class people is very large, and government is also decide ki they want to middle class uh, short businesses and SME businesses, how to sustain it and how to increase their businesses. Government will one of the best thing to better policies for middle class factors. Then middle class factories go away and market is boom. Whenever purchasing power of middle class is very large, I will suggest that government thought is working on middle class areas, and small scale and agricultural productions is very large numbers of तो एग्रीकल्चर सेक्टर में बहुत बड़ा अभी अपॉर्चुनिटी है। इसके बारे में गवर्नमेंट में सोचना चाहिए कि छोटे छोटे जो एग्रीकल्चर है तो पूरा वर्ल्ड को हम एक्सपोर्ट कर सकते हैं। जब एग्रीकल्चर सेक्टर में बहुत बड़ा पैसा आएगा तो मिडिल क्लास में की आएगा और इकोनॉमी ऑटोमेटिकली बूम हो जाएगी। ये मेरा सोच है।
Okay. So we have now probably 5 to 7 minutes left. I can just read out some of the questions on the forum. And these answers can be quick. Any one of you all can take it up. One of the questions is in fact, it's addressed to Dr. Vijay Kakade. So Dr. Vijay Kakade is, of course, very popular from the participation side. So the question is, can we see a major impact on the financial jobs and in the near term, considering the fact that things are getting digitized and moving towards AI?
Very true that we are marching towards the using the advanced technology. And as Anil Patil has said, that going to the rural area, and the government has a big scale scheme of doubling the farmers' income. So for that also money should be poured. Money should be given in the hands of the people who are going to spend it, and that is the key for reviving the economy. So our Lord Mayor Keynes has said that dig up the wells and fill up with money. So private sector will take the initiative and it will take the money out. So in that way, pumping the money, that is the answer for one. And fintech and technology, that truly it is spreading. WhatsApp and all that, we know that people are using it, and putting people on right path by using the technology with safeguards which are required. Is the answer for that.
Yeah. The other question is what needs to really change in the financial curriculum. Maybe Chenthil, you can just talk on that. What needs to really change, not only from academia financial curriculum, but probably even in our corporate curriculums. There are a lot of things that we miss out. So what needs to change?
So, as far as financial education and literacy is concerned, every company will be profitable only if each and every employee understands numbers and contributes to it. Okay, so there has to be so the financial education needs to be democratized. It needs to be very important. A new employee is inducted into the company. The company needs to be transparent enough to understand that, if unless and otherwise a new employee understands these numbers, he or she would not be in a position to contribute to the growth of the company. A lot of information is stonewalled in organizations, just to maybe preserve the sanctity of
What are we doing about this? What are we doing about this? Aren't we ourselves to blame?
Of course, we need to take the blame. We need to understand that, being open about our financial liabilities, the companies. See, there is so much of buttering happening around, so much of window dressing happening in the numbers, and very, very selectively information is released to the employees. However, the risk is also there of those information getting leaked out of the organization. So which is probably the reason why so it's a catch-22 situation right now. But one thing is for sure, at least certain element of negative information also should reach to the employees to stimulate them to work towards the growth of the company and to secure their own employment for that matter. Coming to the basic level of awareness in terms of handling personal finance, as I said earlier, we need to integrate financial education into the school curriculum itself through practical exposure. In fact, I did an experiment it's an experiment still for the last 5 years I've been doing it. I run a program called Money is Child's Play. So it's a 2-weekend program where I teach children of the age group of 8 to 14 about money and how to handle money and do budgeting and stuff like that, even understanding investment asset classes and so on and so forth, which has been received very positively by people. So being more transparent is very important from the point of view of inclusion into decision making as well as contribution to a company's growth is what I feel. Easier said than done.
Great. Thanks, Chenthil. Thanks. Great work. So before I move on to Abhishek for the last question, and then we'll have to wrap up. Even I have from last year started a program called How to Make Yourself and Your Organization AI and Emerging Tech First. I think that's where probably the focus and direction needs to go. So Abhishek, I think you can, this would be the last question. In our corporate world, in our corporate tech world, we have been using, so for this moratorium extension, we are using, complex event processing, our business rules management systems, a lot of the great stuff, so to make sure that things are very orderly and things get, the people, banking is a very, banking and financial services is a very mission critical service, and it's always based on trust, and also we have to run these systems in a very optimal way. So just last few thoughts, maybe just a minute on, what can we do better on the system side, what further we can do, using the emerging tech to even get to the, next level, to make sure that we help our borrowers, to make sure we help all the citizens of our country.
And I'll probably borrow a couple of points that Chenthil also mentioned. So, of course, trust is something which is very important and foremost in a banking system, right? So, and when I say system, I mean like the entire financial and banking system. So, if we are able to use high technology and the more emerging technologies to create those trusts in the banking system, for example, if we are keeping money in the bank, are we sure that the money is going to be safe? Are we going to get the most optimum return? So, as long as the people start trusting the banking system, it will help us, and that's the key role of any regulator. And that's where using the right technologies, the right and especially the new and emerging technologies like data science, artificial intelligence, we can help the regulator do a much better do a much better job of aggregate data processing, identifying potential banking frauds, employee frauds, identifying uh, related party transactions, for example, in the like corporate lending space. So if we are able to share data across the banking system, and when I say data at a much more granular level, if banks start sharing that data with the regulators and regulators with the other banks, that will help the individual banks and the regulators make better decisions on who to lend, who not to lend, what are the key fraud areas to look out for, and that in turn will create much better trust in the banking system,
So
and
probably,
help us tide through a lot of those risks.
no, probably Abhishek, regulatory tech is not just for regulators; it is also for the entire ecosystem participation of banks, financial
Exactly,
services.
It's more of self-regulation that we should focus on.
Exactly, exactly.
exactly.
Yeah.
So
And in
thank you
fact,
all. I think we have covered a lot of stuff around here. Yeah, yeah, Chenthil. Last, you
yeah,
can.
I would like to make a
Yeah.
closing statement. The proverbial saving for a rainy day needs to be replaced by saving for a corona day now.
Okay. So, so I'm sure that all your wisdom and knowledge will help the world and our country. So thank you all. Thank you, Abhishek Jain. Thank you, Anil Patil. Thank you, Chenthil. Thank you, Professor Dr. Vijay Kakade. Thank you, CA Sunil Nagaonkar. I think this has been a very good session. We've been able to address a lot of the stuff in terms of rewiring, in terms of reskilling, in terms of what are the steps that we need to do to really change ourselves and the world for the better. So thank you all once again. Uh,
Thank you,
and uh,
Sudin, for
Thanks a lot, Sudin.
conducting this in such a lovely and interactive manner.
and you all can go on to the Facebook as well as to help answer some of the questions and comments that are
We'll do that.
available. So you all can do
Okay,
that
okay.
so that
Yes.
a lot of the participants can get all their questions answered. Thank you all.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sir Vijay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sudin.
So thank you. This is Sudin Baraokar. I will just introduce the next session, the moderator and the panelists. And the next session is on the HR panel. Are you future employed? And on the HR panel, the moderator is Arpita Daruka, who's a HR leader. And on the HR panel, we have Aparma Sharma, who's a senior HR leader, Bhavesh Chanderia, who's a business head for a major company. And then we have Vijay Vaidande, who's president and CEO of Le HR Solutions. So we will have this panel starting in another 5-7 minutes at 12 o'clock today. Thank you.